There was a guy that I was arguing with a long time ago about investing, and he wasn't like the brightest cookie in the pack of cookies. I need a better analogy. But the I guess I'm not the best cookie in the pack of cookies. We were arguing about like investing, and this is a guy. He was I think he was a streamer, and he made a lot of money, but he spent it like immediately. And my money goes my bank account to my Vanguard account to an ETF, all of it. Okay, just investing in everything, 401k, IRA, because I want to be able to retire when I get banned from everything, right? And I remember this guy is like, oh yeah, like I don't buy anything. Like I try to save up enough for taxes. Hopefully I've got enough at the end of the year. And I'm like, why would you waste all of your money? You're gonna be fucked at retirement. And he said something that was so profoundly stupid and just stunned me. And it stuck with me for a long time. And he's like, why would I want to save up all my money so that I can like have fun when I'm 40 and 50 when I can have fun now when I'm 20 and 30? And I had no response, and I still don't. And I'm like, it's kind of a good point. There is like a moderating force, or there needs to be some balance, because like, would it be worth it? What is it called? You've heard of FIRE, I'm sure, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. For people that obsess about trying to retire at 35, is that worth trading your whole 20s and early 30s to hit that early retirement? And now you're ready to like kind of like party and have fun, but you're also 35, and it's like everything's a little bit slower, and you've got all your friends that have all these stories and stuff from their 20s, and they might not be as financially independent as you. But yeah, it was such a statement that just seemed on its face like so stupid. And then I was like, maybe, I'm not sure.
I think about this a lot. As we were talking about before we started rolling, I've decided not to have kids. But I really had to think about, in each different phase of my life, I will have a different frame of reference. So when I'm 80, I will for sure be very traumatized that I didn't have kids, because you want to be surrounded by a sense of like, there's something living beyond me, somebody to love you back. I mean, God forbid my wife dies. Let's say many of my friends have died, and the normal anchor that you would have, and of course it can't be guaranteed, but the normal anchor that you would have would be the love of your kids. And so I'm forgoing that. And so I really had to step into the different phases of my life, try to project as much as I can what my frame of reference will be, how I'll think about the world. And I thought, by the time I'm 80, for sure, I'm going to regret not having kids, but I can deal with things. I can put things in place, whether it's mentoring people, or, I mean, if I can make my company successful for that long, then certainly having a team that's counting on me, like that kind of stuff, really means a lot to me. But I think you really do have to be able to step into that. And for people that have never heard me talk about frame of reference before, so I think frame of reference determines your entire life. And your frame of reference is the warped funhouse mirror by which you see yourself in the world. It is warped. It does not represent reality, but it is the set of beliefs, values that you carry, choices that you've made about what to believe about yourself, what to believe about the world. And it ultimately does change what you see when you look out at the world. And I don't think people understand how malleable their perspective really is. They think that their frame of reference is simply objective truth, and they don't realize how distorted all of our perceptions really are.
Yeah.
And so when I think about that and looking at my life, like whether should I be saving that money, I've gone through that phase, and it was really fun. And I gamified saving money the way that I now gamify building a business. And so I was really having a good time, penny pinching, saving my money, like really trying to grow things that way. And so it really comes down to, can you get the dopamine? Everything is neurochemistry, right? And so are you able to, through fire or whatever, manipulate your neurochemistry so that you can get the result that you want? And going back to the red pill community, the thing that I worry about is that they have the wrong frame of reference. And so their frame of reference that they're living in, they look at somebody that has money and girls, and they say, oh my God, that is so cool. And I admire that person so much. And if I had those things, I would admire myself. It's not even that conscious. They just look at, it's fucking cool.
Yeah.
But what's really going on is that sense of, if I have that, I will finally like myself in the way that I like them. And then they get those things and realize this didn't touch any of my insecurities. And so the frame of reference they expect to get upon having those things is not the frame of reference that they actually get. And it becomes so disillusioning that it can be very, very disheartening.
What you're describing to me sounds like a little bit like first principles for a business, that like you have like this is your mission statement, this is what you're oriented towards, and everything is heading in that direction. I think ideally, if you do have that end goal in mind, every part of the journey, even the parts that have friction, should be somewhat fulfilling, right? We were kind of joking earlier about, before the camera, we were talking about like running and going to the gym or whatever. When I go to the gym, it doesn't necessarily feel good in a sense of like, oh, wow, I'm glad I moved stuff around, but it feels good to make progress and it feels good to know that I did it, right? Like something, I'm sure everybody knows this by now, that like sometimes there are days where you don't want to go to the gym and it kind of sucks and you do it anyway. There has never been a single time ever where you didn't really want to go and then you went and then afterwards you were like, man, I really shouldn't have gone to the gym. I should have just stayed home. You always feel good that you did it, right? Because you're building towards something. But similar to the analogy that I used before, that deal with the devil, you can't build towards like massive wealth, getting the girls and all these things and build and build and build and build. And then once you've got that, flip a switch and be like, okay, well now I want like fulfillment and confidence and self-esteem, because it's impossible to convince anybody otherwise. But like living in this world now and being around like so many millionaires, so many incredibly beautiful people, men and women, it would blow people's minds how much insecurity there is here. Like it's actually unbelievable. Like I will see people that are like Greek gods in terms of like attractiveness that think they have to like spend 12 minutes on Facetune with every fucking picture on their Instagram to like make it look good, or people that think they're fat, or people that just like feel insecure about like the company around them or whatever. And on paper, their life should be perfect, but like fulfillment and happiness don't happen on accident. There's like a deliberate process that you have to do to build these things out, and it's never just going to happen because you happen to chase something else. It's not like once you have 5 million in the bank, oh my God, I just got so much self-confidence. Like it just doesn't work that way, right? Like if you're not confident when you're broke, you're not going to be confident when you're rich, you know? You might feel some sort of like false sense of confidence, but it's a lot different, right? I always tell people when they come onto my stream, it's always funny. Somebody will say something like, oh, like I'm so happy, like the comments in your subreddit about me were like so good. And I'm like, that's the worst thing in the world.
You're in trouble.
Because if you like the comments when they're good, you're going to hate yourself when they're bad.
Yeah.
You have to exist like independent of it and build like out on something different. Yeah. But it's really hard to communicate that to people.
Agreed. So going back, if the way that the Tate brothers, if the message that they put out, and do you consider them a good representative of the red pill community?
The red pill community is so fractured right now, it's hard to say. Like the red pill community, I think still tries to take ownership of Andrew and Tristan, but Andrew and Tristan are desperately trying to, not pardon themselves, distance themselves from the red pill community. Like they literally tweet out like red pill guys are goofy. Don't associate us with that movement. Like,
interesting.
Yeah.
Upon what line do they differentiate themselves?
There's like red pill communities tried to incorporate a lot of like tradcon ideas, but in some ways they're the least traditional conservative. So like the idea that like your goal is to find a woman, like these are tradcon ideas. I want to find a woman with a low body count where I'm the leader of the relationship and the head of the household and I'm the man in the relationship. That's like tradcon.
Got it.
But red pill is also, I need to fuck 50 women by the time I'm 35. I need to have 3 or 4 girlfriends at once. I need to ignore my main girlfriend so that she still likes me. And I need to constantly do things to increase my wealth or whatever, because that's like the most important thing at the end of the day. And maybe I need to get a vasectomy when I'm 20 so I don't accidentally have children, right? Like that's like red pill. So obviously there's a lot of conflict in these two worlds. And it's been super fascinating watching like Ben Shapiro and Matt Walsh fight with like Fresh and Fit, like Myron and Walter, Fresh and Fit. Yeah, so the worlds have like divided quite a bit over the past like year. Like they came crashing together and now they're like flying apart. I don't know where, I don't know exactly where Andrew and Tristan are trying to end up. It's hard to know because there's a lot of media strategy that's probably being employed right now. Like they're trying to talk a lot about their case. They're trying to win in the public court of opinion. I don't know if maybe in Romania there's like a gag order once the trial starts, so they're trying to get everything out right now. I have no idea, but yeah. So it's hard. I don't know exactly. Like when I'm looking at them, I'm seeing like a media empire with a guy that is like looking down the barrel of a potential big conviction for trafficking. So their stuff is probably very strategic in terms of what they're trying to do. I don't know if it's like this is just red pill or whatever. These are people that are trying to maneuver in some kind of intelligent way to save themselves or their careers.
And how do you think about that? It's pretty dark, right? So you have said publicly that you think that they're guilty.
Assuming everything they've said in their videos is true, right. Absolutely. But he might be lying in his videos or hyping stuff up maybe. But
playing a character or whatever. Possibly,
but he plays it exceedingly well. Like he literally describes everything you need to do to be a pimp, everything you need to do to trap girls, everything you need to do to steal money from their taxes, everything you need to do to get the... Yeah, so I mean... Yeah, but again, it could be false. Like I've said it before. I'll say it again a million times. We should wait for them to go to court, wait for the prosecution to present their evidence, let them fight it, and see what happens. Yeah. Do you play video games?
Yes, but only one.
What?
Ironically, Destiny.
Oh,
That is my game. I'm obsessed, dude. I love it so much.
do you ever hear of or you ever play a game called EVE Online?
I know it well, but I've never played it.
No, well, okay. There's a lot of leadership stuff and leading lots of people, even in games, that carries over to real life, which is really funny. Like in one-to-one ways, you learn things about leading in games that carry over to real life leadership. And something I learned that was like really important to me. Somebody else brought this concept up, and I've realized was really important. Sometimes we would try to think of like new doctrines for our fleets to go for. So different fits for the ships, different types of ships, different ammo or whatever, right? And we'd get a group of people together and we'd decide on a doctrine and we do things and they're fun, but sometimes we'd miss stuff or whatever. Something that I learned about like halfway through my career, another person told me this, is anytime you want to make a big decision involving the entire corporation, it's really important to appoint a devil's advocate. You have to have somebody there that's advocating against it, even if you're ultimately going to choose this, because there something is there about the tension that will keep you a little bit more grounded otherwise, and that tension is really, really, really important.
It's really important. So in business, they would call that red team, which I think is a term they stole from the military. So I have people, what I tell people on my team is, okay, what you want to do, don't try to bend everybody to be like you. So I'm a certain way. I'm the visionary leader. Okay, so I'm going to be prone to excitement, into rose-colored glasses. This is all going to work. It's going to be amazing. And there are other people on the team that are like me. Now, when an idea is fragile, I'm going to go to the people that are like me. And I'm going to be like, yo, I have this idea. It's so cool. And it won't survive negativity. It's just, I don't quite know how it's going to work yet. And so if people shit on it, then I'm like, fuck. And I'll lose my own excitement for it. So in the beginning, I go find the people that are going to be like, oh my God, that's amazing. And they see what I see. Then when we're like, hey, this might actually be real, then you go find the people that are... by nature, they see problems. And so it's normally you're going to go to somebody in operations. Now, I'm thankful that my business partner is my wife. She is operationally minded. So when something needs to be assailed from just like a logistical standpoint, it's not like she's playing a role or trying to ruin it. That's just how she sees the world. And so she'll go and be like, oh, but what about this? And how are you going to pull that off? And what's that going to cost? Right? And so then you start going, okay, cool. I see the problems. But if you're not checking yourself against reality, then you devolve into madness.
I agree.
And so bringing it back to what I hope these young men will begin to realize, you have to check your strategies against reality. And I think anybody in the red pill community, you're going to get slapped around by reality. And I think you already nailed exactly what that's going to be, which is you're going to find you have a hole in your heart and it never gets filled, or it's created by the way that you act. I actually haven't thought enough about it to know if it's a hole that permanently exists and your job is to fill it, or if it's something that arises out of lack. I don't.
I think there's probably like naturally in the human mind, we have a lot of, there's a name I'm trying to think of. I should know this from my carpet cleaning days, because there are these little like octets or docets or things that like get filled with dye. I know it was true for carpet fiber. There are these little things, these little holes that get filled. I think naturally we have some of these in our head that need to be filled. So like socialization, I'm pretty sure is one of the most important aspects, even of our physical health, is like socializing with other people. That's like a natural thing that exists, and it's never going to go away. Like if you live as a hermit, well, maybe in the most extreme examples, but for most people that won't happen.
If you like that clip, check out another powerful clip right here, and I'll see you there.